We cannot be as effective in law enforcement as we would like, and I'll explain a little more on that as we go along. Real quick, I'm Sergeant Miranda from the Temple City Special Assignment Team. Some of my guys here are Deputy Adams. Most of you probably know him. He's been around for like, what, 25, 30 years?
Too long.
Many years. And he's been assigned to the team for the longest of our team members. I've been on the team approximately 2 years now. This is Deputy Alvarez, our newest member, who we've had for approximately 2 years at the station. Great guy. Okay, and some of the other people I want to make sure I mention are, we have a school director here today, Mr. Ken Nolenberg. Okay, Mr. Nolenberg. Let's see you there, right in front of me. And we have a couple of Public Safety Commission gentlemen here, Mr. I don't want to butcher this, Nemri, is that correct? And Mr. Haddad. Okay. And of course we have our council member there, Mr. Chavez. Mr. Chavez, can you, I'm sure everybody knows Mr. Chavez.
My area.
Truly an outstanding person. And one of the reasons we are able to even have these meetings is because of our great city council, and I truly mean that, and the team we have. Also, I will introduce our captain when he gets here, let him say a few words. I also want to take some time here to introduce the city staff led by Brian Arizuni. And when they go ahead and do their portion of this, what they're going to do tonight, I'll let him introduce his staff to you all. Now, I'm hoping I didn't forget anybody. Oh, we want to make sure that we get Jerry here, who provides all the outstanding photos for the city. Okay, and I know, see, and that's why I'm glad I didn't close. And very important, you don't even have to say it, Martin, I was thinking about you. Very important is our volunteers. And they will be here throughout the evening. They will discuss the area leader program, which is how we can keep this area watch going very strongly. We have, how many people now, Martin? We have signed up for? About 1,000 people signed up, and I'll let them explain a little more to you, or actually I'll let Deputy Adams explain a little more to you about what it is they actually do. Martin is very instrumental. He also helps us track the graffiti throughout the city on a regular basis, does a great job. Lucy, I can't tell you, I don't know how she finds the energy, tireless worker, and she can also translate Mandarin. Do we have any Mandarin speakers? Anyway, we do have that in Lucy. She's able to do that. We have child care. I don't see any children today. Oh, do we? Okay, they are going to be taken care of if you choose to in room 11. I think they have a movie, and I'm sure they'll find something good for them to do. And you guys already know we have outstanding tacos there. Help yourself throughout the evening eating those. I'm going to try to get through this quickly so we can balance it out and give the city some time as well to do their part, which is very important. I think I have most of the introductions here. I'm actually all right with doing these things except for when the cameras come on, and I do see a camera now, so now my tongue will seem a lot fatter all of a sudden. Okay, let's see here. First of all, I would like to let you know what it is we actually do as a team. Our team consists of myself, Sergeant Miranda, and the 3 deputies. We also have another guy, Deputy Cardella, I forgot to mention, who's a great guy, great worker, tireless worker, and he's not here this evening. So we have a team of 4 guys. We go out and we do things from work with the city on city events such as the Camellia Festival, the Christmas Parade, the bike ride. Did anybody, you guys were familiar with the bike ride we had this year? We had a health fair. We are involved in all those things, in doing traffic, roadblocks, putting together operations plans to make sure that we can ensure everybody's safety to the best of our ability, and we work with city staff in doing those things. We also deal with quality of life issues. That would include anything from narcotics dealers, we get a lot of tips, to illegal massage parlors, prostitution that we suspect may be occurring, to transients, quality of life. Some of these guys can be very aggressive. Some of them are, a lot of them. are drug addicts, or some we know have other issues, but we try to address all those problems to ensure the quality of life for our community here and make it a great place for the kids to grow up. Also, obviously, we work with the city on the Area Watch, formerly known as the Neighborhood Watch Program. The reason why we do areas, I'll let Rick speak to you a little more on that, but the bottom line is that we were trying to go through neighborhood by neighborhood in Temple City with approximately 34,000 people. We would probably not get to a lot of people. So what we've done is we've broken up the city into sections, and we pass out anywhere from 500 to 800 flyers, and we host these area watch meetings, and we get the word out to as many people as possible. Well, I guess you don't have to cover it now, Rick. I think I'm done. Okay. Okay, feel free if you have any questions. Well, I'm throwing some out there, kind of informal. We don't want to be bombarded by questions, but if you have a question about something, I have no problem answering it. If it's going to go on for a while, then we'll go ahead and do it a little later. Or we'll be around like Rick said. Some of the other things we do is investigation, search warrants. We work with our detectives on what we call workable cases. Workable cases would be, we had a good one. I'll kind of give you one here. Young lady had her computer and some other things stolen during a burglary. She was able to come to the station and tell us she has a GPS tracker on that computer. Doesn't get better than that, right? Made us look very good. So what we did is we tracked that computer to a location. I don't want to mention where to make one. Elwani. Okay, Elwani is in Elwani. So we went over to Elwani, we recovered this property. This woman had about $4,000 or $5,000 worth of computers that we got back for. But that is what we call a workable case. If we have something, and I read every report that comes from Temple City, my team and I work on anything with any workable leads. Your cars get broken into, we got video, we got anything. My guys know a lot of people. We work here to try to work with these detectives and get your stuff back. And the bottom line is, we've done very well for the city so far. Obviously, you can't catch everybody, but if we have anything, these guys, well, I'll let you explain a little more when we do the PowerPoint, and you're going to hear another great success story. We had I guess I should tell you, we had another one as well. A guy was seen stealing some carting equipment one day. Somebody got his license plate. That guy was from Pasadena. We went over there and we got him as well. He happened to jump out of a window before we actually surrounded the house. And after, with the assistance of Pasadena, we were able to get him too. So we've actually had a pretty good success rate on some of our guys, and we're very proud of that. We're very proactive, and we take a lot of pride in that. So if it sounds like I'm bragging, I am. Okay, let's see here. Okay, some of the other things we do are we conduct operations throughout the city. That would include anything from parole or probation operations to traffic operations. If you call us and you're very concerned about Olive and Arden, which we've been called on before, people running that stop sign. One day we went out there, sat out there, I think we wrote 30 plus sites within a very short time. And I'm not talking just, that expression, chicken sites. I'm talking people just blatant stop and just take right off, like there was not even a sign there. Almost, I shouldn't say stop, just like rolling through it, almost pretty ridiculous actually. And you guys know how to do it. If you know somebody's watching, then you're not going to do it. But we can't take for granted that, we got the kids and everything walking around, and that's why they're called accidents. And, we do those throughout the city. Sometimes we're undercover for some of these operations. And all it is, it's for the safety of everybody. It's no other reason other than that. If your kid's riding a bike down the street, or you're riding a bike down the street, you want to feel safe that you're not going to get run over. So those are the reasons why we do things like that. Some of the other operations we do, like I said, parole operations. We get a lot of guys, and we don't have a lot, so to speak. But we do have some people who get out of prison for very serious crimes, from residential robberies to assaults, to attempt murders, you name it. Residential robbery would be somebody going in your home while you're there with a weapon, most likely, taking your property. We've had people tied up, things of that nature. But when these people get out of prison, we hope that they're reformed and they change for the betterment of society. Unfortunately, it doesn't always happen. So what we do is we're proactive. When these guys get out, we know who they are. And we generally will check them, a random compliance check, we call it, just to make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. As simple as that. And we do hope they are. And a lot of times they are. But like I said, we've caught people using drugs again. We've caught people with weapons. We've caught people just not doing the right thing. And they end up going back to jail. You know, they got to understand they're walking a fine line when they're on parole or probation. I see our captain just arrived, so I'd like for him to come up and say a few words. We're lucky to have this captain. He's a great guy, tireless worker, and he's a great person. If you get a chance to speak with him, it's very personal. So, I'm say a few words. Captain.
Well, thank you very much. I guess I have to pay a little more as a paycheck next week for those kind of words. Anyway, I just want to say thank you very much for coming out tonight. I know a lot of you folks were hopefully over at the park last night for the National Night Out and the lovely concert that we had. You know, and it's a great testament to the city of Temple City. They have residents that really care about the community they live in. And it's truly a partnership between the Sheriff's Department and the citizens. We have to do this together and make this a community that is tremendous so far. You guys come out 2 nights in a row. It's great. You know, enjoyed a great meal tonight. So thank you very much for coming out. It really, really means a lot to us to see the interest and concern and the cooperation of the community. We're here for you every night. So thank you very much. And please listen to these gentlemen. They're experts, and I'm very fortunate to have them working for me and have them working for you here in the city. Thank you.
Okay, and let me pick up here where I left off. Some of the other things we handle is if we get information, this just happened, and if some of you watch the city council meetings or whatever, we generally will give a overview for the month of some of the things that we handle for the month. One of the things we discussed months ago was a illegal massage parlor. We had our undercover major crimes detectives call us, tell us they believe they had something going on here in the city. We worked with them that evening, and sure enough, we did have somebody running an illegal massage parlor. That person went to jail, and Deputy Adams did a great job in contacting the owners of that property, and that person no longer lives there. And like we told them, we don't care what you do, just don't do it here in Temple City. So hopefully they'll take that to heart. So those are the types of things that we handle. There are other ones. Well, let me give you another good one we do is burglary operations. And I'll just touch on this real quick, but I'm going to touch on it more in a minute. Burglaries, whether it be residential or vehicle, is our #1 problem here in the city. And when I say that, I don't want to scare you. I just want to be 100% honest with you. However, in saying that, every residential area every nice residential area where people work, and if you don't believe me, call the other agencies, call Arcadia, call a lot of these neighboring, the nice areas, and they will tell you. People, if somebody knows somebody has nice stuff, where are they going to go? They know we're working people, they want to come over and they want to try to take your stuff. Obviously, it's not a big problem, thank God, but burglaries, the bottom line is they occur in a nice community. Okay, that's the bottom line. So what we do to combat that is a lot of times we will do operations, and these operations will consist of a lot of times of us using undercover vehicles, driving around the city with a lot of marked patrol vehicles as well in the area to saturate the area, we tend to call it. And if those undercover vehicles notice things that don't look right or something seems a little weird, call those patrol units over, they check the people out. A lot of times it's nothing. But every now and then we get lucky and it is a burglar. So the bottom line is We just want to detour that time. We want you to know when you leave your home, when you go to work, your family's there. We want you to feel safe. We treat it like it's our own community. We take a lot of pride in that. We do a lot of those operations. And some of the types of burglaries we have, I'll expand on that a little more. We have what we call distraction burglaries. So for some of the elder folks here, they like to take advantage of the elder folks a lot of times. They will work in teams. A lot of times these guys will pretend, they will say that they're construction workers, they're water and power workers, they're doing a job on the next block over and they think they broke a water line and can you please turn on and check your water, or can we go around to your backyard? And of course, that's going to scare the heck out of anybody, right? Because when you hear water lines breaking, what do you think? It's big money, right? Oh no. So we managed to get somebody outside into the backyard a lot of times. Well, guess what? Somebody comes in through the front door while you're walking around the back concerned about this problem. They generally will steal jewelry and whatever else is easily accessible. A lot of times our poor victims don't realize it until a little while later when maybe they're going to sleep, or hours later when they go back in their rooms and they realize, hey, what happened to my watch or my money or whatever? Those are what we call distraction burglaries. So I guess the bottom line is my advice to you is don't come outside, okay? All that old saying, ask for ID, the whole bit. If you're not sure, tell them, I'm going to call the police and I'm going to confirm, or, call their unit. Bottom line is some common sense. And I don't mean that in a put down way, because we all get complacent. We don't think it could happen to us, but it could happen to you. So just, take that extra step, call the station, call us, call Department of Water and Power, ask them where they work, say you want to confirm, whatever your thing is, but I can't emphasize enough. Don't open the door, don't go outside, don't fall for it. And let your neighbors know who aren't here today, if they're elderly or what have you, that would be huge. Okay, some of the other things we have are scams. We've had a number of these where people will use something that's close to somebody. For instance, we've had a few where religion was a big thing. Certain religions, they believe in, bad spirits and things of that nature. And with that being said, sometimes people will prey on that. Something's going to happen to your family. There's a spell on your family. And we've had people given thousands, as much as $30,000, $40,000, a lot of jewelry, all because they were worried about their family. And I know that may sound strange to some people, but you have that strong belief, certain other countries or things of that nature, or even here, these people they're good. A lot of these criminals that I worked around when I was working in the jail as a young deputy, they're very good manipulators. Let me tell you, they're very good manipulators, very good speakers. I'll leave it at that. Fumigation burglaries. When houses are fumigated, generally it's a 3-day event. They put the tent on, they do their, it's got a cycle through or whatever. These guys are actually going into the fumigated homes and stealing stuff. So, what can you do to prevent that? Anybody that stupid and that hardcore, I don't know what to say. All I have to say is my personal thing is invest in a safe or something like that. I think that would be huge. I know I have a big one. It would probably take 4 or 5 people to carry it out. If they get it, we can have it. But, like I always tell people, your valuables, money and all that, if you're away from your home, I would invest in a safe or something like that. Obviously, alarms, things of that nature, you can't ever go wrong with that stuff. You really can't. That would be my advice. And generally, try to go through people word of mouth. If you're going to get an alarm, my personal opinion is maybe go through somebody who's had a certain alarm company for years, versus just calling anybody randomly. That's my personal opinion. Okay, some of the other things here is, I think I already touched on that, the transient operations. Also, very important to us if your property does get stolen is if you do know that there's GPS trackers on your computers and case of that when you purchase them. Everybody pretty much has one now. Serial numbers for firearms. Firearms should be in a safe. I think we all know that. That's the law. To know your serial numbers to all the items important to you. It helps a lot. A lot of times we recover property, and we have access to run serial numbers. But I can't tell you, I would say 90% of the property that's taken, there's no serial number recorded. And I'm just throwing a number out of my personal experience of being on the department 25 plus years, 26 years actually. Very rarely people, and I'm guilty of it too, we're all guilty of it. So, you know, it's just something I'm just kind of weird. Yes, you had a question, Michael?
Yeah, I was curious, how prevalent are these crime general areas?
Well, it's hard to say. I mean, a lot of times, you know, in a week, we could have none. We've gone weeks without any. And then we've gone weeks where we've had 5, 6 of them. And a lot of them have been, and that's another thing I should touch on, vehicles, leaving your property in your vehicle. I've seen people leave a purse on the passenger seat, literally walk to an ATM machine, right there, same area, smash a window, grab it, gone that quick. You're talking, what does that take, 1 second? And you'll see somebody that we have here in our video doing a little thievery here in somebody's car, but it's hard for me to say, sir, it just varies. It's simple as that. I mean, we go weeks with nothing, and we have, but the bottom line is, until I see none of them, period, ever, that's viable. And every time we have, I'm not gonna lie to you, it kind of bothers me a little. I get a few more white hairs. My guys will tell you that's true. I take it kind of personal, you know, like, what can we do to stop it? But we try to be very proactive. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, thank you.
You guys probably heard Lucy translating back there. The bottom line is we have a large population of the Mannery community, and we're trying to get a lot of everybody from the neighborhood to come and join in these. We don't want to have separate area watch meetings. We're all one big neighborhood. We all want to work together. We all want to look out for each other. So it's vital that we all do that. So thank you for that, Lucy. And when I say that, I can't emphasize enough, if you see something in your neighborhood that you know is not right, and I know this sounds like it's common sense, but we don't get these calls, and I read all these reports, I'm telling you. If somebody is on your neighbor's property, if you see a vehicle in the driveway, if you see a car parked in the front with maybe somebody sitting in there, which you've never seen before, that's how they do it. Possibly a lookout. Somebody probably burglarizing that house, and somebody's sitting in that car, waiting to see police coming, who's coming. I've seen it done numerous times, okay? If I drive down your street and there's a car in your driveway, okay, and it's backed up in that driveway, I have no clue if that's your car or bad guy's car. So if we don't look out for each other, and you don't make a call and let us know, my neighbor's at work, and that car seems a little strange, can you come check it out? Or you see people knocking on your doors during the day trying to sell stuff. Who does that Monday through Friday? Who's generally home where you're going to sell so much property during the day that it's going to be a lucrative thing for you to do. Most people coming around door to door, legitimately trying to sell things, you know, they're pretty much going to come after hours when you're off of work. Or if they're sticking something in your door, that's one thing. But if you see people knocking, like I said, a lot of times they could be knocking, anybody there? Nobody's there. They'll go right around and do their thing. So if you're home and you don't know somebody and you see them knocking, my personal opinion would be to tell them you're not interested without opening your door and basically go away. And maybe try to watch out for them. If you see them and they appear suspicious, call us. If it seems legit, you know, that's fine. But it would not hurt to call us and let us know there's a guy or a girl on my block and something doesn't look right. You know, we've had people walk up to doors and say, "Oh, sorry, I was actually looking for the liquor store, and I was hoping to get directions." Come on, right? We know that's not right. That's suspicious. You should call us. And like I said, I'm not trying to scare anybody. With that being said, I want to say, in a website called Neighborhood Scout, it's a real estate database. Temple City was in the top 100 safest cities last year, and we were ranked 40th. So, I mean, that's huge in the country. So, what I said, I don't want you to take it like, oh my God, this guy's full of negativity. Besides, Deputy Adams is going to come over here and speak for a minute, and you're going to see this guy should have a talk show. He's going to have you all wound up and laughing and everything. So I don't want to be the guy bringing you down. I just, I only care about you guys. I want you guys to, have a great community. I want you to be able to trust us and call us whenever you want to. Deputy Adams is going to go ahead and talk about this handout right here, right now, and we will be around for any questions afterwards.
Yeah, I don't usually use this, but I know we have the air on, so I'm going to try it for now because I don't want to have to yell if I don't have to. So thank you all for coming tonight. I'm not going to have enough time to get you laughing, I don't think. I'm only going to get you for about 10 minutes. So normally if I did what Ron just did, I'd have you laughing already. So I didn't want Ron to build me up and then have you totally disappointed afterward. All right, fair enough? How's everybody doing? Yeah? All right. And the tacos are good? All right, we have to thank the city for that. So Brian back there with the camera and the other city folks, you can thank them for the tacos because they put the bill tonight. Okay, so let's go through the packets briefly, and then when I'm done, Rob's going to come up and talk about the main reason you're here tonight for us, and then the city will talk about their portion as well. So the front page of the packet you have, the one thing I want you to know about that, take these home with you and hang on to them. And we just added this before. In past meetings, we had our contact information, but we didn't have the station phone number. So before we go into too much detail about what you're going to do as far as calling us, we want you to know that if you see suspicious activity, something that doesn't look right, we encourage you to call. When you call us, that gives us the probable cause to stop and detain somebody to find out what it is they're doing. All right? If you don't call us, we'll find other ways to do it, but that phone call you make makes it that much easier. So we want you to call. Look, if they're doing what they need to be doing, not a problem, right? We find that out, and we're good to go. We send them on their way. But if they're high on drugs, if they're possessing drugs, selling drugs, if they're out scouting our neighborhoods because they want to break into your homes, we want to know about that. So you calling us helps. And you all are active people because you wouldn't be here tonight if you weren't. Okay, sir.
Yeah, you're being dispatched from this Las Tunas station.
Correct. Yeah, we're at Temple Sheriff Station, which is Roseby and Las Tunas, right behind Kmart. So if you call that number that's on there, the 285-7171 number, that's who you want to call. If you need something right away or you need a patrol unit to get out there, we want you to call that number first. Okay. Any other questions? Feel free to ask questions too, because we have some time. We do want to stay on target as best we can, so we get you out of here by 7:30. And we will be here later to answer questions for those that want to stick around. Yes, sir.
I'm just curious, what would be like a response time?
A response time? Okay, those are things we covered in our meetings from the year before last, but I will tell you, just so you know, and I'll explain what's gone on with the program since we started. Response time is the length of time it takes to get to your house or wherever it is you're calling from to help you with the problem. But we have response times depending on the situation. If somebody breaks into your home or breaks into your car and they're gone, we may not get there right away. It just depends on what's going on within the city and how many units are available. If you've got a priority situation where maybe somebody's sick, they're not breathing, well then that'll become an emergency and we're gonna respond to code 3 and we're gonna get there right away. But that's basically what a response time is. Okay, so moving forward, on the first page, the contact information I want you to have my number and my email address. If there's something that you're concerned about, you might have an issue tonight that you don't want to bring up because your neighbor might be here and maybe you don't get along with your neighbor. The problem you're having might be your neighbor, right? That happens a lot. There's also a page in here that you can write that down and give it to me as well. But if you email me, and if you don't have email, call me. Some of you may not have email. But if you've got email, my best approach with that is I can print up the email you sent me with all the information I need based on what's going on. And then I can also forward that to the patrol deputies that are out there so that they have the information as well, okay? I feel like I want to sing a song for you. I feel like I'm doing karaoke, and I'm telling you, I don't sing well, so you're not going to want to hear it, all right? But if I start, you'll know I just had that, I got the fever and I just had to do it, so. I may just lose this too. I might get rid of the mic, so. Okay, so I want you to contact me. If you need something and I haven't gotten a hold of you, then you can get a hold of one of my partners or Ron, our sergeant. But I always get back to everybody. But realize all those things Ron mentioned to you, we do many more things that he didn't even touch on, and we won't bore you with those things. We're extremely busy. However, I will get back with you, and usually pretty quickly. Usually within that same week, and if not by the next week. Okay? At least get a hold of you, let you know I got your message, and we're dealing with your problem, and I'll give you an idea about when we're going to be able to address your problem for you. All right? And then you have Brian Arizumi, who is our public safety officer for the city. So any city-related issues that you might have, get a hold of Brian and his name and contact information. Brian, wave your hand so everybody knows who you are. Okay, so Brian's your main guy with the city you want to get a hold of. And Brian and I have been working on this program for the last couple of years, so he's instrumental in doing the city, our department, and you folks are all instrumental. And just so you know, in the package, we added the new logo for the city. We told Brian, hey, look, we want something different for the neighborhood watch signs. We want something that's unique to Temple City, not something that everybody else has. So Brian got a hold of an artist. He came up with 4 different designs. And our area leaders that we have that meet, and we'll talk about that in a sec, decided on the one that they wanted, the one that they liked the most. So if you want to be more involved in the community with what's going on with our program, and it doesn't take much, then I'll let you know and I'll tell you how you can go about doing that. But they're making decisions on changing the program, and we'll talk more about that in a minute, okay? So that's the first page, and if you see, you've got the sheriff's badge, the community, and the city, so we're all working together. All right, moving on. The next page is just, it's actually the sign you're gonna see in your neighborhoods as soon as we get those signs ordered and going. Brian, what do we think? I'm gonna put Brian on the spot, because we're being videotaped now. So when can we get those signs? What do you think? Late August, September. Okay, you see the magic of filming, because when I talked to him initially, he was telling me October. So that's fantastic, right? All right, thanks, Brian. Brian's awesome. Brian and I have been working together for a long time, and he's great as far as taking care of you folks and us as well. So this is the new neighborhood watch sign, and as you can see on the bottom, it says we immediately report all suspicious activity to our department, and it's got the station phone number for you as well. Okay, the next page. What we did when I'm going to talk about this briefly, hopefully. I'm talking fast so I can get through it quickly. All right, just so you know. I'm not that nervous, really. We used to do block meetings, but, dynamics have changed. We have, more and more Asian families coming into the community. Times are different. It's not just that. It's the fact that people are in a rush. We have families that are working. You have husbands and wives that are taking care of, they're both working, taking care of their families, okay? So we don't know our neighbors like we used to when I grew up in the city 30, 40 years ago, okay? I grew up in Temple City. So it's not the same. People are busy. So we figured we have to find a way to get more people involved. So we broke the city up into 12 areas, 1 meeting a month, and we'll hit every area for the year. But what happened was, we decided that we can't really do meetings in November and December because of the holidays. It's just too difficult. So we've been doing meetings, carrying it over. So, come January, February next year, we did the last 2 areas of the 12 areas that we came up with. But the area leaders and I, we all met, and we said, well, we like this idea better. So if you turn the page, what you have for next year, they won't apply right now, but starting in January, we changed the areas and we made it 10 areas. So what's going to happen is, every area is going to get hit, and if you're in area 1, then you folks will be area 10. So next year in January, instead of area 12, we're just changing your number. You're going to be area 10. 3 of the areas changed their size a little bit, that's fine, you don't have to worry about that. But you're going to meet in October next year. So if you're in area 4, we're going to meet in what? What month is that? Thank you. That's just a test to make sure you guys are paying attention. Only 2 people were paying attention. That's not good. All right? So that way it makes it easy. So if we know what area you're in, you know what month that your meeting is going to be held in. Okay? And if you don't make that meeting for whatever reason, you can make another one, because most of the time the material is the same, because we're having the same problems. Residential burglaries and vehicle burglaries. Those are our big problems right now. Okay. Let's keep moving. The next page. The gentleman in the back next to Lucy asked about how you know what's going on in your area and is there an increase and what have you. Area 12, which is what your area is right now, you can see going back from January through July this year, you had 1 vehicle burglary in your area in a 6-month period. That's not bad at all. And then you had about 8 residential burglaries. Okay? So you had quite a few, still not bad for a 6-month period, just so you know. And I'll tell you this, working the station as long as I have, we handle Temple City, South Amani, Rosemead, Duarte, and all the county areas. And Temple City by far is the safest city that we patrol and the least amount of crime. So you actually go to a good city. We're going to talk about some things that might scare you and, letting people into your homes that might try to trick you. And on that same point too, if someone comes to your house and wants to get inside and you didn't call them, don't let them. Just close the door, don't let them in, and call us, and we'll come out right away. That's the best way to prevent being distracted and getting your home either broken into or having somebody come in and steal from you. Okay, the next page. Everybody signed in when you got here. Every week you're going to get a crime blotter just like this. And it's going to give you the majority of the crimes that are going on with the city. So you'll know what 100 block and kind of what's going on, and also the arrests that the deputies are making. It's not all the crimes, but it's the majority. Sometimes we don't get the reports till later. Sometimes, there may be a report we don't want you to know about just yet because we don't want that information getting out to you because it might hamper the investigation. So just something to think about. But you're going to get this weekly unless you tell us you don't want it. And then we'll also give you other updates as well. Like I sent out an email to everybody Tuesday about National Night Out for last night. So we're going to start using that more as we progress. Okay? And then we also do it in Mandarin. Lucy translates these every week for us, sends it out to Brian, and rather than getting them from us and the city, Brian's just going to send them to everybody. So all of our contact information, we have over 1,000 families in our city that have email contacts with us. They're getting this information, and the number keeps growing. After tonight, we'll have 1,050 probably, so it's working out great. The next sheet is just a form. I only put this in here because nobody knows their neighbors. But look, you're not going to know everybody behind you across the street. Get to know at least one of your neighbors. Either on either side, maybe both neighbors, on each side, maybe somebody across the street. Have them look out for your home if you're on vacation. You can also email me and let me know, and we'll check on your house as well, and we'll let patrol know. Okay, they'll check on your home for you as well. My neighbor has my house key, and used to feed my cat, used to bring in my mail for me. He had the alarm, the alarm code in my house. He was a good guy. I trusted him, right? And when I came back, the house is still in one piece. So if he had a party, he cleaned it all up, right? So it worked out well, okay? But anyhow, get to know your neighbors. You don't have to give them your key, but let them know you're going out of town, It's time for us to start talking more with the people that we live with and around, okay? Just a thought. The next page is a flyer that we hand out on your cars. If you're at Kmart, TJ Maxx, somewhere on Las Vegas, you might get one of these. Basically, the notes on here, just take a look at it when you get a chance. It's all about what you can do to stay safe. Vehicle burglaries are one of our biggest problems, and that's because folks are leaving things in their car. And most of the time it's in plain view. GPS systems, you know, purses, computers, and you ladies that go shopping, you go to the mall at Christmas time, and you go to your car to get rid of some of the bags, and you leave your car there. You don't drive to another spot. We've got guys and gals that scout out the area, they bash your window in about 5 seconds, open your trunk, and they're gone within 30 seconds. So be careful about what you're doing. Don't leave anything in your car, period. Even if you've got a bag with nothing in it, the bad guy's not going to know that. So you're going to come back to your car, and you're going to spend $100 to $200 to get your window replaced. And then, you know, for what? For nothing, because you had nothing in the car in the first place. So just something to think about. The suspect description sheet on the next page, just to give you an idea about if you have to call the station, there's somebody suspicious, without putting yourself in jeopardy or in danger, just do what you can to give us as much information as possible. Vehicles, if you get a license plate number, great, because that's huge for us. But we don't want you standing out there, you know, with a notepad and a pen, you know, while whoever it is you're, you know, suspicious of is there, and they might come out with a gun or a knife or, you know, who knows, right? We don't want you taking action, but if you can get it from your, you know, from your home or somewhere it's safe, or if you walk by and you look at it, you memorize it, then you go and you call us, you write it down later, that's fine. Just something to think about. And the next page is the vehicle description. You don't need to know all this stuff, you know, but it's just something to think about. And then the next few pages are city services, shopping, car removal, graffiti. We have a great system for graffiti, and we actually have all our graffiti gets photographed. We can get a dollar amount attached to it, and it stays in a database. And we arrested 3 adults and 3 kids for over 150 separate acts of vandalism, but they're all the same tagging crew, and we were able to go back through this database and actually have charges filed against all 6, and the city, you know, can eventually get reimbursed as well. So taggers is phenomenal. The city's really made a big improvement as far as graffiti, and we pretty much guarantee you're not going to see a whole lot of graffiti, and if you do, report it, and it will get cleaned up very quickly. And then the 211 number explains what that is on that page. Note page on the back there, in case you have something you want to, you want to write to us. Maybe you don't want to bring up in public, let us know, or if you just want to take notes for yourself, use that page. And then lastly, you all signed in, so you don't have to worry about this, but if you go home and you have neighbors that might be interested in being notified weekly of our crime blotter, of the crimes that are going on, and any other notifications we start giving you, have them fill this out. I didn't put my email address on there, which I'm going to change next time around, but it's on the front. So just have them email me the information, that way they don't have to worry about it. And then also, the area leaders, in case anybody wants to be more involved than they are right now, and that's fine if you want to just come to the meetings, once a year, that's fine. But if you want to be more involved, we meet once a month for an hour, from 6 to 7 at the station. We have about 18 to 20 area leaders right now. We have about 10 to 12 that are actually very active. And basically what we're doing is we're revamping the program every month. We're looking at ways to bring more people involved, get them more involved, to change it, to make it more interesting. And then what's going to happen too is, come January, we're going to start a whole new set of meetings, which will be a completely different format than what you're getting tonight. And they're the ones that are going to be the voice. They're the ones that came up with what we need to talk about this year. So if you want to be involved, it's 1 hour a month from January through October, and that's about all we ask of you. And if you can't make all the meetings, that's fine. And if you just are happy and you love Temple City and you just want to be informed, then you don't need to get involved that much. All right, fair enough. All right, how did I do? My 5 minutes is usually about 15 or so. Oh no, you don't have to do that. No, thank you. No, but I just want to make sure that I got it done quickly.
What nights are those 7:30?
Lucy, what nights do we do them? Usually Wednesday or Thursday? The area leader meetings when we do them? Yeah, we try to stick to Wednesday nights. I thought about putting that in there. Usually Wednesday nights. Sometimes we kind of rotate them around a little bit, and usually the second or third Wednesday of the month. So, but if you're interested, just email me and we can work around that. All right? Okay, so I'm going to give it to Rob. Rob's going to go over what's going on with the city and what you really need to know about tonight. So thanks.
All right, can you hear me? Okay, first of all, I want to say welcome, good evening, and I hope you guys have a good time with all this information. Okay, I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Deputy Robert Alvarez. I've been on the department for 10 years. been at Temple Station for 4. I was a community service officer for Rosemead for 9, so I've been in this area for over 16, 17 years. I'd like to welcome everybody. Councilman Descar came in a little late, so I'd like to raise your hand and give a round of applause for Councilman Descar. Okay, before this night's over, there's one concept I want you to get into your head and kind of embrace is collaboration and partnership. You guys are the eyes and ears of your community, the streets. You guys know who belongs on your block, who your residential residents are. You're familiar with vehicles on your block, your neighbors. Again, without your help, the eyes and ears of the community, we cannot help. Okay, we can patrol. We're limited on what we can do in terms of knowing what's around the surrounding areas. Without you guys, providing us information, calming, getting involved. Again, if you will, collaboration and partnership. Okay, I always like to start off with this story because crime doesn't discriminate. Okay, I'm a big Steeler fan. About 2-3 years ago, Pittsburgh's in the playoffs. I go to my friend's house, watch the game. I'm all excited because Pittsburgh wins. I'm around to my house. It's pretty late. It's about 11 o'clock at night. I pull into my garage, get my stuff out, go upstairs, go to sleep because I work the next day. Okay? I get up early, get my stuff ready, shower. My wife's asleep, kids are asleep. I go downstairs to check my vehicle, get my stuff out of my car, prepare my work day. Garage door's open. So I look at the garage door. It's 6 o'clock in the morning, so I get a little agitated and irritated. Like a loyal, honest, smart husband, who do I blame? I go upstairs and blame my wife. I wake her up in the middle of the night and say, what are you doing? Leaving the garage door open. These are things to prevent residential burglaries, vehicle thefts, little things that I'm going to relate to you on the PowerPoint that you can do. Crime's going to happen anyways. If a suspect wants to get in your car, you're going to get in your car. But these are deterrent information that you can use to help not be a victim. But again, like my partners are telling you, these guys in jail, they're very smart, very cerebral. That's what they do. They're professional, suspects, professional thieves, professional burglars. But again, just a little information that you can get to prevent and deter will help you. It goes a long way. Again, they take my stuff. Again, I'm a person that knows how to prevent burglaries, right? I'm a victim. Why? Because they get into my garage. How? I don't know. I call it law enforcement in Fontana. They come and they give me this little WhatsApp story. They can click it. Live and learn. Okay. Okay, I'll start the PowerPoint. Okay, common factors between drugs and thieves. Alright. Most thefts are committed by drug users and drug addicts. What's a drug addict? A drug addict is someone that uses a controlled substance, which is narcotics. The two common narcotics in community now in our nation are methamphetamine, which is a stimulant, and marijuana. Two narcotics that they use. A stimulant is something that arises your nervous system, makes you hyper. It's very addictive. That's why it collaborates into vehicle thefts and residential thefts. Because why? They get so addicted to this drug that they constantly need it. But they don't have no responsibilities. They don't have that sense of we go to work. They can't stay on that parallel with work, make money, and use a drug. They forget about everything they do. They don't work, all they do is want that drug, okay? Marijuana, another common factor or common drug used in this community. Okay, these two things are very addictive. And when they get addicted, again, they need to get some money in their pocket to go to drug dealers to buy that narcotic. If they don't have no money in their pocket, what do? They look around their surroundings, and what's the easiest thing to do is take or steal your property. Okay? The deterrents that I'm going to tell you to prevent them going into your vehicle and your residence, again, they're not 100% foolproof, but they will aid in helping you not. Okay? Are these narcotic addicts in the community? Are they people who live in your community? Yes. Is there drug houses, people who sell drugs in your community? Yes. Okay, there's no walls around Temple City. Okay? Crime happens everywhere. Like my partners are telling you, that this is the 40th safest city in the nation. Okay? But that doesn't mean that the city has walls or barbed wire or some type of cement wall that they can't come in. They go to residential areas that have nice stuff. You guys work hard, you guys have nice cars, you have nice houses. They know that. So they want to get into your house to take your property. I always tell my wife, and I didn't know this when they burglarized my garage, is the first thing that you need to do is if you get your property, buy something in a store, there's a serial number, like my sergeant was touching base on. This serial number helps us track your property if we find it. You know, when we go to a service call to your house, and you say, hey, someone broke into my car, they took my iPod, my purse, my laptop, all these electronic property that you purchase, there's a little serial number in the back in the box. And you know, even when you sell it, when they sell it to you, the salesperson, they'll tell you, this is the serial number, keep it. Write that down somewhere where you can retrieve it. Because when we go to your house for service, and we ask you, do you have a serial number attached to your property? If you say no, 99% of the time, you are not getting your property back. You know, when you look at TV and you see all these Wazoo, CSI, or they get a fingerprint within 20 minutes, oh, that's Mike, let's go to his house and arrest him. That does not happen. We can get a fingerprint on your house, and it'll take us 3, 4, even 5 months to connect that fingerprint to a person, a name, and even that doesn't even put them into your car, okay? But if you have a serial number on your property, we put it into a database called the APS, Automated Property Stolen. It's attached to your name, a phone number. So if we stop somebody in the future, on a traffic stop, pet stop, open up your backpack, open up your car, they see a laptop, iPod, iPad, anything that's serial number, we get that property, run into our MDC, the computer in our vehicle, pops up, Mr. Alvarez's property. Well, he's gonna go to jail for stolen property, okay? But we're not gonna go and get your property back. It's just a minor thing that you can use. Are you gonna get your property back? Most of the time, no. But it's just something you can use, and it's a tool that can help you get your property back. Okay, what are the two common areas or crimes that narcotic users do to get money? They break into vehicles and they break into residents. Okay, why? Because people have their property in the residence and vehicles. You can go to the next slide. Okay, when they go into your vehicle, they steal your property, they get money they use, okay? But a lot of times, there is narcotic locations in your area. What does that mean? There's people in your community that sell drugs, and there's people in your community that grow drugs, that go and retrieve drugs from other areas and bring them into your community. Yes, there is a lot of crime that happens in your city that you don't see. And that's where I come back to the collaboration and partnership with you guys, with your eyes and ears in your community. Because if you see someone on the street that you don't know, call us. You know, it's a simple service call. We're here to provide service for you. You know, I ran into an individual one time and she said, you know, I see this car on the street constantly with these people walking around. I don't know them, but I don't want to call the sheriff's department because I don't want to bug you. Well, see, that's the bridge that we need to gap. Because if she would just call us, we contact that person, you don't know what they're there for. Even if we contact them, they're doing anything, it's a service call. That's what we provide to you as a community. We're a special assignment team. We do other things like my sergeant was saying, transit operations, burglary operations, you know, all these other operations that we do. But we'll get a service call, not a service call, we'll get the complaint at the station or a necessity service call. We'll go contact that person and hear your concerns. And then we'll go to that area and we'll contact the individual that's there. If they're loitering or they're in the park or a dog is barking. You never know what we're going to find in your community. Because why? Because you had the time and you took the effort into dialing that number, calling a call for service, you go down there and contact this person, like my partner says, probable cause. Yeah. Okay, this is really an open forum, so if you have any questions, go ahead and raise your hand, catch my attention, and I'll answer the questions the best I can. But again, the major part of this is to give you information on your community. A lot of people says, oh, okay, Temple City is the 40th safest city in the nation, so nothing happens. Like my partner was telling us that you go and you leave your purse in the middle of your vehicle, or you leave your residence unlocked, you leave your windows open. You know, about a month ago, we're passing out the flyers for area watch in a different area. We go up to the houses, we hand deliver these flyers to the residents to notify you when these area watch meetings are. And we're going up to the houses, we're knocking on doors, and there's doors wide open. There's cars with the windows down. These are opportunities for people to go, steal your vehicle, take your property, Go into your houses. You know, it's a sense of people don't realize that there's crime because you have a nice neighborhood. But believe me, you go to Beverly Hills, you go to any nice area where crime is really low, that's the areas where they're targeting. Because they know that's an area with a high probability of getting property that's very valuable. Okay, marijuana grows in the area. Okay, marijuana grows. Okay, remember I was talking about the two narcotics that are really high in society is methamphetamine. Methamphetamine is a stimulant. It's a crystallized narcotic that stimulates the nervous system, and they get a hyper. There's a lot of factors that make them they're very addicted to the drug. There's also marijuana. Okay, marijuana is a common narcotic in the area. It's really easy to grow and manufacture, and what they do in the area, it's a plant. So what they do, they can't just plant it out in the grass or the lawn or in real high visible areas. So what they'll do is they'll get a house. They'll gut the house. Okay, they'll black out the windows with film. They'll close up all the doors. They'll tap into the electricity inside the house where it's illegal. Sometimes they take up to $35,000, $40,000 worth of electricity from Edison that they're stealing. Okay, then when they gut the house, they put these. They go to these tables and they put like planters. And they plant all these plants. A house grow in 1 month can accumulate maybe $40,000, $50,000, even $75,000 worth of marijuana that they sell out in public as dealers. Okay, when they do this, they have these really high expensive lights. They're called balusters on the top that help the plants grow. There could be up to 1,000, 2,000 plants in a residence. When they do this, again, the collaboration between you and law enforcement, if you see a house, you should know your neighbors. You should know the vehicles that go in and out of driveways. If you don't see your neighbors for months, a lot of times these guys operate late at night. They bring in their trucks, they take all the plants, they load them in the truck, and they're gone. They do it like 2 o'clock in the morning when they know all the neighbors are asleep. Okay, if you, excuse me. Thank you. So again, let's go back on tapping into electricity. Okay, an average household pays, I don't know, maybe $300 to $400 of electricity a month. When they tap into these wires with it that goes underneath the city and goes up, they cut the wires, they tap in there, they use, because when you grow these plants, they need to be in heat, so much heat. These balusters, they're like $1,000 every light baluster. Balusters, we'll turn the next photo you'll see. It's really hot heat lamps that make the marijuana grow faster. See the top? There's probably about 50 of them. Sometimes there's 50 or 60 of these all around. Okay, they make the plants grow higher when they get mature. They take the top of the buds and they regrow them again. So again, it's a constant thing, year long. See these little ones? They're in the small little balusters. But again, when they tap into electricity, it's thousands of dollars. So when we do go to these little residents and we take somebody in custody because you guys inform us that you can smell something weird in the neighborhood, you see suspicious vehicles getting in and out late at night, you see people walking in, foot traffic like at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. We go down there, we knock on the door, we look around, we check the electricity, and from our experience, just the factors that we have experience in narcotics, we can, put it all together that it's a marijuana grow. Do they happen in Temple City? Not all the time, but occasionally. Does it affect you? Yes. Because who are the people who use the narcotics? Narcotic users. It's a big circle. They get their weed, they smoke their weed. Weed is just a bridge over to methamphetamine. They do their methamphetamine, they get addicted. What do they need? Property, they need money to keep their addiction going. So they break into houses. Like I said, 2 factors that they get their money is vehicle burglaries and residential burglaries. Okay, I'm gonna touch base real quickly on residential burglaries. Is there a deterrent? No, I just told the story earlier about them breaking into my house, right? Yeah, you can use a dog. A dog is a very good deterrent because it's loud. A lot of suspects, when they want to break into the house, they want to be inconspicuous, under the radar, quiet. These guys are very, very mischievous and very smart. They'll look at your residence, know your habits, when and where you go, what time you leave for work, who's in the house. These crews that burglarize, the real smart ones, are very dangerous. They'll know how many people in the house and when no one's home. When you go on vacation, and you know your house is going to be unoccupied for maybe 2-3 weeks, contact your neighbor. You know, communication is a big key. Get to your neighbor, hey, can you watch my house? And the responsibility of that neighbor is, again, going back to suspicious vehicles, people out that you don't know, cars, call us, call for service. We go down there, contact them, probable cause, we get a service call, we talk to these guys. If they have burg tools, guns, masks, gloves, well, guess what? We're taking them into custody, preventing a burglary. But again, the bridge to that issue has to come from you. You guys are the eyes and ears of the community then. Okay? Alarm systems are good, but these individuals are very smart. They can cut wires. They do a lot of things that we don't know because they're steps ahead of us. We only catch them, learn from them, but they're one step ahead of us because we learn from their acts, how they get in the house. Well, they're not going to do the same thing, right? We're going to learn we're smarter. So we do other tactics to get into the house. Don't leave your I keep based on stay on the residential burglaries. Another good thing is at night when you leave your lights on. If you leave your house or resident, you leave it for the night. A lot of people turn the light on, right? So it shows that they're home. These guys are smart. They know they're living in your house when you're leaving. You know what? Turn your lights off. Do different. Switch it up. Sometimes leave it on when you leave. Sometimes turn it off. Okay? Leave your curtains open sometimes. Make it look like someone's there. Maybe when you leave, turn your radio on. Make it sound like you're still there listening to music. Again, what's a lot of people go, for evening, go have dinner, what do? They close all the curtains, close all the doors, turn off all the lights on. He goes, someone could walk up. They go in their backyards. A lot of times, and this is a real pet peeve of mine, when I go to residential burglaries to do a report, the first thing I say is, he came up to the back on a sliding door. The sliding door that is kind of like a big sliding glass door. I said, when you left to go eat dinner, did you close your sliding door? Oh, no. I didn't think anybody was going in the backyard. You think these suspects are going to break in the front door and just kick it in? No, they're going to go through windows, sliding doors, chimneys, make holes in walls. When they burglarize businesses, they cut the ceiling, the roofs. They go in there and cut big old holes. They'll do whatever it takes to get in your house to take your property. Okay? Again, you can change it up. Windows open, lights on in the living room, turn it off, put the bedroom light on. Do little things that can help you prevent them going into your house. They touch base on distraction burglaries. Again, the elderly, a lot of times people go into your house, knock on your door, say, hey, we're going to do a sprinkler system. Or a lot of times they'll say, your neighbor's water's leaking, we need to go in your kitchen, check out if the pipes are good. Elderly women, men will, direct them into the kitchen, stop in the kitchen. Yet someone else is in the vehicle, you jump out of the car, go into the house, and you're not looking in the kitchen, go into your bedroom, steal our jewelry and your money, money property, go out the front door. Okay? Again, if you don't know somebody, it's not rude to say no. Okay? Say no, I don't want your house. That's your house, that's your property, and that's your responsibility to say to the people in your house. Again, if someone looks very suspicious or odd, just tell them no, call us, we'll go down there, contact them, get them out of the neighborhood. Okay? Solicitors always are very suspicious. I don't like solicitors. I don't like people knocking on my door at 9 o'clock at night. Why? Because what are you doing at 9 o'clock at night? People don't conduct business at 9 o'clock at night. So a lot of these guys will. They'll come early in the morning, late at night. They'll knock on your door to see if someone answers, just to see your schedule, if you're there or not there. You have to be one step ahead of these guys. Again, it's a learning process. The best thing you can do, again, if you see cars out there, again, I cannot emphasize this. If we come together as a community, and we do a very good job, Temple City is a very safe city. Okay, you guys are very good at calling us for service, but a lot of times, when we get to these vehicle birds, residential birds, a lot of times is, you know what, I didn't want to call you because I don't want to bug you. It's a call for service, real simple. Okay, when we go to vehicle birds, I tell my wife this all the time, and I emphasize this. When you go shopping, I told my wife one time, why do you need to take your purse with 4 credit cards, a checkbook, money, a passport, like all this stuff? She says to me, but I need everything all at once. No, you don't. You need 1 credit card, and then you go back and get enough money to purchase that. There's plenty of times where I go to a vehicle burn, they smash the window, there's a person in the front seat, they take it, and their whole life is gone. Identity, everything, credit cards, checkbook, it's all gone. And the individual looking at me and says, they took everything. So I'm making a list of everything they took, and I'm like, oh ma'am, why are you taking everything at once in your purse, even in your front seat? Her response to me is, Temple City is a nice, safe neighborhood. There's people that walk in and out of the driveway, parking stalls, looking at their vehicles open. Another thing is, lock your cars. I don't care if you put in the driveway to go in the house, it takes seconds. They're looking at you. Lock your cars, lock your windows. It takes a second to roll up your window. Take your purse. Another thing is, when you go to strip malls, you go to malls in general, there's people out in the driveways or the parking lot looking at your actions. When you get out of your vehicle, you open up the trunk, and you put your purse in there, guess what they're going to do? They're going to go to your vehicle when no one's looking, they're going to pop that trunk. If you think they can't get into a vehicle, these guys are very smart. Very smart. They can pop open a trunk, they can pop open a car. If they want to take your vehicle, it's gone. Okay? Try to make it hard for them. It's real easy. Take your purse, take your backpack, take all your valuables with you. If you're shopping, you have a bunch of bags, like Adam says, don't go in the car, put them all in the trunk, then go back into the mall. Okay? They know that you bought expensive items. Okay? They're going to break in that car and take your stuff. Go in the car, drop your stuff in there, park your car, take your car out of the parking lot, find another space. It's an inconvenience, right? But it's not an inconvenience to the suspect, because they're going to get in your car. They're looking at all your actions. Just be smart. You have all the time in the world. They have all the time in the world to look at what you do to make you a victim. Just do little things that deter them. Make sure you put your alarm on. That's another thing. My wife has an alarm. She goes to the mall, she never turns it on. She just locks the door. I'm like, why did you do that? Oh, I just forgot. Take a moment, pause. When you get out of the vehicle, pause and says, okay, do I got everything? Is my alarm on? Is my windows open? Are my kids out of the car? Yes, everything's good. Let's go. Let's go to the mall. Okay, I'm going to tell you this individual, I'm very proud to say, is in custody. Okay, my other partner that's on here, Adams was actually working that day, but he wasn't involved in this because I was patrol. I wasn't on the special assignment team. This individual right here, his name is Rudy Duran. I take it personal because when I was on patrol, I patrolled Temple City. This individual is responsible between 30 and 40, maybe 50 burglaries in Temple City. This was about a year and a half ago. This guy was so high on methamphetamine. Okay, one dangerous residential burglary situation is when someone breaks into your house and you're there. Okay, that's what they call a hot prowl residential burglary. Okay, that means this individual is so dangerous he doesn't even carry your home. He'll go through your window when you're there with a weapon, possibly steal your stuff and maybe harm you. At the end of this guy's rampage, he was already doing hot prowls constantly. He didn't care. He was so angry, he didn't know what he was doing. Even his friends, when he contacted him, saying, hey, this guy's out of control. Well, anyways, this guy would break into cars, break into houses. I was working one, I believe it was a Saturday, go to a briefing. Briefing is when before you start your shift, you sit down there, they give you all the information what's happening in the day. All of a sudden, they say, Alvarez, get in your car, you got a call, you got a burglary. I said, okay. So I get in the car, I get to the street, there's 7 residential individuals out of their house waiting for me to contact them because their house or their car got burgled on that same street. Saturday night, he gets high, he burglarized 3 vehicles and 3 houses. Okay, so I go down there, I have, 6, maybe 7 reports, just taking all the information. The last resident, the last person on the block, and this is where I'm telling you, and I can't even hammer this in your head, get involved. He wasn't going to report his burglary in his garage. So I get to him at the end, I see him, I say, hey sir, did you need me to contact you, do you need me to talk to you about something? He says, you know what, they go to my garage, all I took was 50-cent pieces, and a couple other little items. But you know what? I don't want to bug you. I don't want you to get involved. It's okay. Go on. I said, you know what, sir? Let's just do it. Let's just take the report. I mean, you never know. You know, there could be a statement that you tell me, like a color of a car, anything. Just talk to me. What happened? He goes, well, came in the garage. It was open on the side. He kicked in the door, and the garage was kind of filled with a bunch of items, personal items. He says, took the coins from this location, but that's not mine. And I looked at him and I said, you talking about that backpack? He goes, yeah, that backpack. Well, Rudy Duran was so high on the little rampage, he dropped his backpack in the garage. Okay? So I go in there and I open the backpack, I dig through it, and I see an iPod. And this individual used to like to glamorize himself, so what he used to do is, he used to take pictures of himself getting high and just kicking back on his couch. So when I open the backpack, I look at the iPod, I look at the pictures, there's only 4 pictures of him on the iPod, so I'm figuring, this is this guy's backpack. So what I did was, snap a picture of this guy, send it to Cordella, who's been here forever, he grew up in Temple City. He looked at it and says, that's Rudy Duran. I said, okay. So, write this report. Long story short, he ends up being in custody. We're gonna get him with fingerprints and eyewitnesses and stuff like that. And this guy is out of the community, okay? And I take it personal because the last 3 residential births that he did what they call hot power, kicked in the door. I mean, actually kicked in the side window, went in while a lot of guys were doing their study, homework, and doing business, and he was stealing stuff, and he didn't care. He's a very dangerous individual. This is actually him breaking into a car. It's a little dark, but if you focus the middle, you can see, and this is what I tell you about parking lots. Individuals that want to steal vehicles, they go down there and they check the handles and see if they're open. You can see him, he's just the top of the screen, he's walking around. Someone left their car unlocked.
No, it's the window.
Yeah, it's the window. The window's down. Okay, but if you can see him walk, he's gonna walk into the screen, and you can see him when he gets focused, he's gonna try the door handle. Okay, these are the tactics that individuals that are gonna burglarize your vehicles and residents do. They check the doors, they check the windows, and he's gonna come around, he's gonna look into the window, and he's gonna open the door, and he's gonna steal the property. See him right there? And then a little caper, when Kirk saw the video of the picture that I sent him, his little iPod picture, Kirk recognized him, and that way went forward to the detectives, and he went to custody, and he's no longer, he was a 2-striker, and when he went to court, they charged him with other vehicle, residential burglary, got 3 strikes, he's probably gonna do either 16, 20, and 25 years in state penitentiary, so he's out of Temple City, okay? As you can see him, he's reaching into the open window, and he's gonna get into this car. Okay, again, opportunity, crimes of opportunity. They're looking at your actions. Again, a collaboration and a partnership with law enforcement helps us help you. And again, it's just one call, one service call to help us contact somebody, and then we can prevent something. So thank you for your time. This is gonna be the city's time next, City of Temple City. If you have any questions, like I said, open forum is gonna be at the end of their presentation, and if you feel free, when they're done, walk around, you see Debbie Adams, you can contact him, contact myself, contact the sergeant who's out there roaming around. Any questions, anything, because nothing's not important. Thank you for your time.
While Brian's setting up the PowerPoint, Vaughn and Kirk, the day they found out about this, they went to scout out this guy's house. They thought he was living. And he was actually loading up a U-Haul truck, getting ready to move out of the area. If they didn't stop and detain him that day, he would have been gone, and these people would have been, breaking into homes and cars. But because they took that extra step, and because of the communication, and because of the work with the community, we got this guy in jail for a long time. So this is something you guys should know about. This is Jillian.
Hi, everyone. Can you all hear me, or do I need to use this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Feels like a
I try to be loud.
So,
My name is Jillian. I'm with the City of Temple City Community Preservation Department. I'm going to talk to you today briefly about something that goes hand in hand with what the Sheriff's Department have been talking about tonight. So let's get started. So I want to talk to you first about what we accomplished last year in the neighborhood watch meetings. We did introduce code enforcement. We switched from that to community preservation. We implemented a new program, which is PHASE, which stands for Focus Area Systematic Enforcement. We talked about property maintenance codes, building codes, discussed city services, and how to contact the city for any questions. So this year, we're going to be talking something that is extremely important, and just like I said, goes hand in hand with what the sheriffs have been talking to about tonight. So, how community preservation, this is exactly what we're going to be talking about, how community preservation can help prevent and reduce crime through the use of CPTED methods. So, what is CPTED? CPTED stands for Crime Prevention Through Environmental Design, and it's an approach to deter criminal behavior. Its effective use and design of a property can lead to a reduction in the fear of crime, the incidence of the crime itself, and an improvement in the overall quality of life. So here's just an example of the different CPTED methods that have been utilized on this property. You have large windows. You can clearly see the sidewalk and what's going on outside of your property. You have hedges that are low, that are cut short. You can see what's going on without having to take any special measures. There's no hiding places that's created right here. And you have lights, city street lights, where you can see exactly what's going on, especially at nighttime. So the first method that I'll talk to you about today, about CPTED, is called natural surveillance. And it's the capacity to see what is occurring outside of your home without having to take special measures, such as well-maintained properties, hedges, bushes, landscaping that's cut, trimmed, and maintained, adequate lighting, warning signs, and alarm system signs. So this is an example of poor natural visibility. There's actually a house behind all those hedges, but I can't see it from the street. So how are the sheriff's department going to respond to your house and be able to see anything that's going on if you can't even look outside and see what's going on your street? So this would be an example of something that's well maintained. You can see exactly what's going on right outside that window. You don't have to take those special measures that would put yourself in danger. You have the warning signs that are clearly displayed on the window as well as right by the hedge in public view. This is actually a case that us as a team we worked on. This is a before photo of a house. There's a window right there. You can't see anything outside that window. There's a hedge completely obscuring their visibility. And you have, this is another just lawn that's not well maintained. And then they have a blind that's covering their second window. And this is after. They have their hedges maintained. You can see what's going on. No problem at all. These are some warning signs that have been posted just to notify anyone that's walking by that they have alarms, they have the dog, beware of dog, private property, just to notify residents as opportunists as they're walking by, that you have taken those special measures to ensure that your home and your property is safe. This is a lack of lighting. You have a light right outside your porch, just turn it on at night. You can see what's going on. People can see what's going on as they drive by. Your neighbors can see what's going on. Make sure that there's no one going onto your property that shouldn't be there. A well-lit front yard. You can see what's going on. You don't have to take those special measures. The second method is territorial reinforcement. These are design elements such as decorative fencing, landscaping that help to distinguish the difference between what's public and what's private. So a quick example of this is fencing. They have fencing, you can clearly tell what is their property and what's the city's property, and doesn't create any hiding places. So quickly I want to talk to you about the negative effects of neglected and unmaintained properties. So you have an increase in criminal rate and crime activity. You have long-term residents that don't want to live here anymore and they will move out of the city. You have decreased property values. Your home is devalued. You have an impact on investment, such as when you rent, you can't sell, you can't purchase, and new residents are afraid to move into the city, and the property vacancies rates will increase. So this is the last method, and I think that this is the most important method of CPTED, is maintenance. Because maintaining your property, it ultimately makes it a safer place. So this is another case that we worked on. This is a before photo. The house looks vacant to me, and any opportunist that's going to walk by this property, they're going to do what they do best. They might squat here, they might break in. This house wasn't actually vacant. This is an after photo. There were people actually living in this house. So a big difference from here to there. Makes a big difference in your neighborhood. This was a house that actually caught fire. This was on Loma, further up north in Temple City. There was a hole in the roof. Right there, there's a hole in the roof. It was completely neglected. So us as a team, we did work on this case, and this was the after result. Completely brand new house and a completely different outlook on the neighborhood itself. Another case we worked on before and after. Huge difference that just simply landscaping makes. These cars were parked in an alley. This is actually a very populated alley right by Las Tunas, and they were parking abandoned vehicles just on the grass right there. So we made them pave it. And it's a big difference, as I'm saying, that this makes in your community, because when people come into Temple City, this is what they see. And we want them to see this rather than that. So, in conclusion, preventing crime in Temple City, it involves everyone. It involves Temple City sheriffs, Temple City staff, but most importantly, it involves residents such as yourself. We all work together to reduce crime and improve the overall quality of life. We increase the safety. We have good school districts to send our children to, and we keep our city clean, and our property values continue to rise. This is just a home value comparison. We're right below Arcadia. That's where the pricing is for Temple City. And our goal is to keep that there and to help it continue to rise. So we only want Temple City to go up. So if you guys want to contact the city, any more questions or any further questions you do have, or if you'd like to talk to us further in detail, you're more than welcome to give us a call, and we'll talk to you in length about anything you guys would like to talk about. Thank you.
Okay, before we go further, a couple of our staff are passing out the evaluations. The evaluations, as Deputy Adams stated earlier, help us in structuring what the program's about. We have our area leaders that meet to discuss the program monthly, but we also want to hear from the community as far as what the program is about. Let us know the truth. If there's something that you didn't like, say what it is. Say what you didn't like about it. And that helps us improve the presentation and makes it a better program so that we can do a better program next year. The goal is to continue to improve this program. Also, once you turn in your evaluation form, we do have 2 gift cards for Carl's Jr. And so we do have an incentive to turn in those evaluations. And so tonight, what myself and Freddie, one of our park public safety staff, are going to be talking about is emergency preparedness. I know everybody here, maybe not so much this side of town, didn't necessarily experience the full magnitude of the windstorm in 2011, but who here can tell me honestly that you're prepared for a disaster? I see one halfway hand up, one maybe just above the table. It's not hard to prepare yourself for a disaster. One of the things that you want to do is not be dependent on us, the city, on the sheriff's department, on the fire department. These are some pictures from the windstorm. This is a storm that was just big enough that it tested our capabilities, but not too big that it was catastrophic. We had some areas that were without power, but for the most part, everybody had gas and water. In the event that we do have an earthquake of a larger magnitude on the San Andreas Fault, that will happen, there will be a lot of damage, and it will be a very catastrophic event that will affect probably the entire mid to southern California. Do you know what to do in a situation like this? If this was your house, or if this was your loved one's house, do you know how to approach that? Do you know if that is safe to enter? There's a lot of people looking right now that would wonder, would you run into that house? What if you had this 4-year-old little girl yelling in there, help, save me, save me, save me? Is that going to change how you approach that? And should that change how you approach that? The answer is no. Just because you have a 4-year-old child in there versus an adult in there, that does not change how you approach. And there's certain things that, yeah, it sounds mean, But if you went to that house and that 4-year-old's in there and the house collapses when 2 or 3 of you are in there, how many victims do we now have? 2, 3, 4, depending on how many people go in to save that child. And so later on in the presentation, we're going to talk about ways that you guys can prepare for that. Earthquakes. Who remembers the Northridge earthquake, Chino Hills earthquake, Whittier earthquake? Who thought that was a lot of shaking? How long do you remember the earthquake lasted? Seconds? It felt like minutes? Okay. This slide right here, this is a simulation. This was from a Golden Guardian exercise in 2010 that was part of the California Shakeout, where the entire state of California and local agencies participated in this presentation. This is a segment of the San Andreas Fault starting at Salton Sea, and this represents a 7.8 earthquake. The reason why I have this slide here is just to show you that when the big one hits, not if, but when the big one hits, we will have a lot of shaking and a lot of heavy shaking. The San Andreas Fault usually has an earthquake on it about every 150 years. The San Andreas Fault, our southern segment, is well over 300 years since the last earthquake on that fault. And so there are a lot of pressure building up in that area. So I'm going to play this presentation, and what you want to do is watch and look at the countdown timer and see how long the shaking is going to last over here. One of the ways that you can kind of get a mental picture of how that looked is the videos that you saw in the news segment from the earthquake in Japan. Okay, so the earthquake started down at the Salton Sea and it's going up. The yellow part of the wave is the strongest area. And you can see that the countdown timer here, or a count up timer, showing the time elapsed. So it's been 50 seconds and it's going to be coming into Temple City shortly. We're starting to feel the shaking, and now it hit Temple City. You can see Salton Sea still has some shaking, the yellow's going up, and the land has a is very instrumental in how the earthquake acts in our area. We are in a basin, so we're going to feel a lot of shaking. Still Temple City, this is a minute since it hit us. We're still shaking pretty good. A lot of yellow there, a lot of orange. Minute and a half in, we're still going pretty good when it hit Temple City. 3 minutes since the earthquake started. It's going up into Santa Barbara now and going out to the ocean. We still feel residual shaking right there. This is already 2 minutes into the earthquake, so those 10-second shakers, 5-second shakers that we've experienced in the past pales into comparison on what we're going to have. And this isn't meant to be doom or gloom or to scare you. It's just to basically show you reality and face the facts that this will happen. And what we want to do is prepare you on how you can do things to help yourself, your family, and even the community. And so at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Freddie, and he's going to talk about one of our programs that's going to help you as a community, and as an individual family, and as a city, what you can do to assist us.
Hello everyone, my name is Freddie. And in a situation where you see that really bad earthquake, that's why the city has, well not the city, but we help with this program, the CERT program. And CERT is a program for community members like you that want to take that extra step in to better prepare yourself in a situation where it's a natural disaster, whether it's a terrorist disaster or anything like that. And in this program, you'll learn how to mitigate the problem within the first 72 hours. And these are the topics that we'll be talking about in that class. Sorry. And we'll be talking about disaster preparedness, disaster fire suppression and utility controls, emergency medical operations part 1, part 2, the light search and rescue operations, CERT team organization, disaster psychology, terrorism CERT, course review, and disaster simulation. This is a picture of some of the exercises that we do in the CERT program. Right here, the left, sorry, keep pushing the wrong one. This left one right here, the fire suppression. How many of you have a fire extinguisher at home? How many of you know how to use that fire extinguisher? Okay, great. How many of you never used a fire extinguisher? Okay, so this class here would be a great class to come to, and this is one of the things you'll learn, to use a fire extinguisher. And then these are some of the other exercises that we do. Here's some other pictures of the fire suppression and different exercises also that we do. And these are some pictures of our previous graduating class members. And for this program, we really have the fire, the LA County Fire Department help us out with this, and they can use their knowledge to help you guys out in what to do in a disaster and further train you in another situation. We currently don't have a set date for the next class, but we do have a form in the back where before you leave, you can go ahead and leave your name, phone number, and email address, and my supervisor, Brian Rezumi, can go ahead and send out an email once we get that going. And I'll go ahead and pass it on to Brian now.
Okay, so one of the things that Freddie was talking about is a cert, and I want to go back to the fire extinguisher. We had some people here that raised their hand on how to use a fire extinguisher and that have never used it. Who thinks that the best time to use a fire extinguisher is when your kitchen's burning, to learn how to use it? That's probably not the best time. You don't want to learn how to use something when you really need it. The best time is to practice it when you don't need to use it, so that when that time does come, you're not reading instructions while that fire is getting bigger. One of the other things too that Freddie said is the 72-hour mark. That's actually an old figure. We ask in the emergency management field that residents prepare themselves to be self-sufficient for a period of 7 to 10 days. The old model used to be 72 hours to be self-sufficient and self-sustaining. And so, just to give you an example of what that entails. Who here can tell me what the minimum amount of water that each person requires a day? I heard 3 gallons. Come on, my CERT graduates. Okay, the minimum amount of water that you need is 1 gallon per person per day. And so if you have a 3-day supply of water, that's 3 gallons of water for one person. Family of 4, you have 12 gallons of water for one family to sustain for 3 days. And that's just water to drink. That's not the water that you're going to be using for the toilet, to bathe yourself, to clean up around, to keep your area clean and sanitized. And so that just kind of gives you an idea. So if we're talking 10 days, 10 gallons of water per person for a 10-day supply times 4, you're looking at 40 gallons of water to get you through just a week and a half. And so you need to do what you can to prepare yourself. We do have some people in this room that have graduated from a CERT class. In Temple City, we have ran 4 CERT classes over the last 4 or 5 years, and we've graduated about 100, 120 students from the class. One of the concepts of CERT is to train you and prepare you as a resident, as a individual family member, to prepare yourself so that you know what to do to take care of yourself and your family. As city employees, we are mandated by law to respond to a disaster. You as citizens are not, unless it's something that your job requires. And so one of the things that I have my staff do is attend the CERT class, because for their peace of mind, if they know that their family's taken care of because they've been trained and they know what to do, they're going to be more willing to respond to work. Same concept would apply to you as a resident. If you're at work, you're at home, wherever you're at, you need to know what you need to do to prepare yourself and how to take care of your family and not rely on the city. The windstorm is a perfect example. There was minimal service that we could get to. The 911 calls were not immediately responded to. Right now, you call 911, get a 3-minute response from the city or from the fire department and the sheriff's department. That's not happening in a disaster. You're lucky if they respond depending on the magnitude of the disaster. So upon graduating from a CERT class, what can you do next? CERT, you can take the training and use it for yourself and your family, and that's great. That's one household that I don't have to worry about, one neighborhood that you can help take care of, and not be such a larger area that the city needs to expend resources to. The next step is the CERT call-out team. and that is graduating members from a CERT team, from CERT Academy to become part of a city volunteer team. And the call-out team, you'll have basic requirements. You must have graduated from the basic CERT class, which is a 20-hour class that is approved by FEMA, so it's a national recognized curriculum. You must submit your CERT certificate, fill out a volunteer form, pass a background check, and also pass a medical exam. Upon completing all that, you will be sworn in as a volunteer disaster service worker. And again, that's for workers' compensation to protect you. And also there's requirements because we do partner with other organizations such as the American Red Cross. And they do have similar requirements if you're going to help operate a shelter. So some of the things that will happen is you get basic training for CERT. The call-out team will expand that training and have maybe shelter operations, traffic control and redirection, emergency center operations. Who here knows what an emergency operation center is? Okay, so an emergency operations center is basically the hub in the city where city staff, city council, sheriff's department, public works, fire department, Edison, all the key players that need to respond to a disaster get together in one room so that we're not having to call everybody across town to get those resources. And so if someone calls in and says, I have a problem over here, we can turn to the next desk or walk across the room and say, you know what, I got a call on this, can you send your guys out there? And so an emergency operations center is just one area, it's like a command post, but it's inside of a building. And so we in Temple City have only 36 full-time employees. We have a small part-time staff, but we have a resident population of 36,000. And so there's going to be a lot of work that needs to happen, and so we're going to rely on the community for that help, and this is what that program can help accomplish. Some of the other things, again, realistically, what type of, go ahead, Lizzie.
If I can just add, the 20 hours per class is really not scary at all. I just took it this year. It's mainly informative. And I really highly recommend it. Going, having common sense, and putting it into practice are two different things. A lot of us know, we think we know what to do, but you've never gone through the drill. And you face an emergency, you may just lose a life. So it's very, very simple, very friendly environment. You'll have a lot of fun when you really bring it. So that's really my recommendation. For people who have family members to take care of, as I said, it's not reach out to the community. Protect yourself and your own family.
Just out of curiosity, I know, I have an idea of who's here, but there's some people in here that I may have not. Raise your hand if you have graduated from a CERT class. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, about 12 people in this room. That's not a bad number. One of my goals is to hopefully by one day having everybody in this class raise their hand. It is a good program. My staff and I just recently attended a teen CERT portion of it, and so it's something that we can partner up with the school district and start teaching like the high school kids about it and modify the program so that it can be stretched out and meet their curriculum as well. And so realistically here, in 2011, we never thought we would have had a hurricane force winds come through Temple City. But again, that just shows you that you need to be prepared for anything. One of the things that we know that will happen, because we're in Southern California, is earthquakes. And so this is kind of an infographic that shows you what you can do to prepare for an earthquake. Most of you may have received it when you walked in. If not, it's available online as part of our Connect magazine. And if you can't find a copy there, email me and I can get you a copy of that. And it just kind of shows you what to expect and kind of things that you can do to yourself preparing for an earthquake. One of the other things that we'd like to expand and grow is there's a population in the community that has special needs. We as a city do not know where that entire population is. You as residents, you as church members, as the community know who that population is and where they live and what those needs are. So someone that maybe is bedridden and is on oxygen and cannot get up and readily evacuate if needed, we need to be able to provide resources to help that person evacuate. We need to know what those resources are. Do we need a bus? Do we need someone that has the medical skills needed to operate the equipment that's necessary for life support? And so that's something that we need to know. And this is a program called SNAP. It is an Alley County registration. And it allows us as a city and emergency management to access a database that is voluntarily, but we highly promote it and recommend it. This way, if something happens in Temple City, let's say something happens in Cleminson School and we need to evacuate an area, we can access that and know what segment of the population, where those people are at, and what resources they need. So if someone is driving around in the sheriff's car doing announcements, please evacuate, but you have someone that is deaf in a couple of households, they're not going to hear those sirens, they're not going to hear the PA announcements. And so we need to go up to those doors and try and notify them in some other manner. And so we would highly encourage, whether it's your family, friends, go to this website, snap.valleycounty.gov, and license it. It is a secure site. We're not going to access the system. We have to sign a contract with Valley County, and so it's not going to be for soliciting purposes. It's going to be for genuine, true emergencies. Additional resources, there's a lot of information out there on what you can do and how you can prepare yourself. These are a few of the websites that I myself go to when I'm looking for resources. We have ready.gov. Red Cross is a great organization that has a lot of information. If someone wants to know how to put together or what should be in a personal preparedness pack, very good place. CaliEMA.gov is the State Emergency Operations Center. FEMA is the National Operations. Shakeout.org and Earthquake Country Info, again, because Southern California is earthquake prone. The emphasis for preparedness and mitigation is going to be on earthquakes. And so that concludes my presentation. At this time, we have one more person that would like to come up and say a little bit right now. It's Giselle, and she's the Executive Assistant to the City Manager.
Okay, switch of plans, just out of the stage right. So I'm Jonathan. I'm here to speak to you about the official survey to try to improve the Temple City library services. So if you wouldn't mind, if you can help join us and try to get some information to help that service. If you have any questions, you can ask them to me, and I'll relay them back to Giselle. Hopefully she can answer that. All right.
Hey, got over your fear.
Hi everyone, thanks for coming out to the Neighborhood Watch, and just by showing up, you guys really show that you really care about the community. And going on with that theme, we are looking to improve the library, and as you know, the library is kind of outdated. There's a lot of things that need improvement, whether it's the building itself, or the collection of books, or the technology that's in the library. So this survey will really help us understand what the library is missing and ways that we can improve it. And eventually, we're going to gather all this information and put it to use. So if you guys are interested in filling out the survey, I have some surveys here. We'll pass it out. You don't have to fill it out now and turn it back in. There's always, you can always turn it into City Hall or the library. And we also have the survey online on the city's website at www.templecity.us. So hopefully you can hear a little bit about what you guys think about the library, and we can make some improvements. Thank you.
All right, so we're going to do the raffle, right?
Yes, Mayor. And again, we ended a little bit early, we're actually right on time. But we'll be here if anybody has any questions. So go ahead and fill out your emails, and the guys will be coming around with raffle tickets and collecting them, and we'll go ahead and raffle off those 2 gift cards. Also, Lucy has the sign-up sheet for the CERT classes. As Freddie said, we do not have one scheduled just yet, but put your information, and once we do have one scheduled, we'll notify you on that.
All right, so we have a few minutes while they're collecting the evaluations. Anybody have any questions for us, either the Sheriff's Department or the city?
I do, Rick.
Yes, ma'am. I'll get you the secretary.
I received a phone call, and first they asked for him, and then they asked for his late mother. And so then I called the number back, and of course it's a disconnect. But then when I went online, it turns out it's like something for police officers.
You're looking for donations?
Yes.
Yeah, if you get something like that, where someone's calling you for donations and they tell you they're from an agency, you can get a hold of me for the Sheriff's Department and I'll find out. Most of the time, they're not legitimate, but some of the time they are. And a lot of times if you ask them to send you literature about it, and they do that, there's a pretty good chance it's going to be legitimate. But if they don't, then you want to be leery of that. So, and if it's for LAPD, you call, the police department. But if you've got any questions like that in general, even if it's not with our department, you can get a hold of me, and I'll be able to help you out. Thank you. Jerry.
Rick, in the last 24 hours, all I've heard on the news are these slider thefts, where you pull into the gas station, somebody parks next to you.
Oh, yeah.
And what do you do? Is that going to come on the West Coast now because they're showing it on TV? Or
Yeah, what Jerry's talking about, he said they're calling them slider thefts, and if I'm not mistaken, I don't watch the news because it's too depressing, so I really honestly don't know what's going on in the real world. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it's too depressing for me. But I did actually have a friend of mine mention those today. And what she told me was, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jerry, have you heard about the slider thefts he's talking about? A number of you? Yeah? Okay. So from what I gathered in my conversation today, what's going on is you have people that go up to get gas, they're leaving their cars unlocked, and they're leaving their wallets, cell phones, purses in the car. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So we haven't had that going on within the city, not even within our department that I'm aware of, but I can tell you not in our city. But the best thing you can do so that we don't have these problems, because a lot of times what will happen is you'll get people that copy crimes, you'll get bad guys, right? They'll go out there and say, hey, that sounds like a great idea. They never thought about committing that type of crime before, but now they see it on the news, so they're thinking, hey, I can do that. So your best bet is this. If you're going to get gas, all right, and you have anything in your car, it goes back to what we talked about earlier. Don't keep anything in plain view. Don't leave your windows down. And if you lock your car, roll the windows up, lock your car, and you're right there, you shouldn't have any issues whatsoever. And if you see somebody lurking at a gas station that might look suspicious, make sure you call the station, especially if it's in Temple City. But if you're somewhere else getting gas, you can call 911 to get that local station phone number, or call information and call that agency and let them know, hey, there's a guy hanging out here, he looks kind of suspicious, he's looking through cars and people are pumping gas, let us know. Does that answer that for you?
Yes.
Thanks, Jerry. Anybody else? You guys are all happy, aren't you? You guys were fed, you guys didn't fall asleep on us? I like that. Yes, sir.
The young lady from the city that was talking about the house that the bushes over.
Right, Jillian? Uh-huh.
She mentioned that they had put together on certain ones. Is that because city residents call, or do they actually drive around looking?
Both, yeah. Actually, his question was, when you look at homes that need to be, renovated and changed, we have residents that'll call on their neighbors because the home doesn't look nice. And also you have all the guys in here with these black shirts and gals, they go out throughout the city, and if they see something that doesn't look right, then they'll address it. They'll contact those folks as well. Ryan, you want to say something?
One of the programs that we have in the city is a program called FACE. It's a full focus area systematic enforcement. All our code enforcement officers on one day go and canvass the neighborhood. They go door to door and they'll post notices on doors that need attention. Sometimes we'll gain voluntary compliance. Actually, most of the time we gain voluntary compliance, but there's some of those cases that we have to continue with the enforcement with notices and possible citation or prosecution. Beyond that, our officers, as they're patrolling, if they see something, they make note of it, they'll jot it down. One of the things that we need help also is with the community. Again, we have a limited staff and we cannot be everywhere every time. We're not here during the evening hours, early morning hours. And so if there's a neighborhood that you live in and there's a couple houses on your block that you're concerned on, give us a call, let us know the information we had online, and I can give that information out again as far as how to contact us. Let us know what's going on there. You can remain anonymous. We do not disclose who called. We don't say, oh yeah, Ken down the street said that you're going to have this house and it's all tatted up, it's messy, you've got grass growing through the junk car that's parked on your lawn. We like to get the information on the person that called so that if we have any questions, we can follow up with that questions, and also to keep you involved in the process, and so that you're not questioning what we're doing or not doing. Some of the cases we get immediate compliance, some of them take months. And so to keep you informed in the process that, we contacted, they're making the process, to keep you involved in that. And so it is both ways that we do it, but we do rely a lot on referrals. Okay, everybody get a raffle ticket and turn in your eval.